Hey everybody, Woody here with BBC Gaming. I just replaced my Gigabyte GTX 680 with a Evga 1070 Ftw Hybrid edition. I got a couple benchmarks for you with using firestrike and some temps from hwmonitor. So definitely worth having a look at. Feel free to stick around. Roll the intro. Welcome back, everybody. So jumping right into this, I'm not running a dedicated test bench for these tests. This is my regular gaming PC, so keep that in mind. Running all these tests were done on Windows 7 Ultimate 64-bit edition. I'm currently running a Asus P8Z68-V LX motherboard with a Intel 2600K CPU. I got it overclocked to 4.5 gigahertz. I got 16 gigs RAM at 1666 megahertz. One thing to keep in mind too, this motherboard only has PCI 3.0 or 2.0, sorry, whereas both cards were capable of 3.0. So that definitely does bottleneck me a little bit. I'm not sure how much, but this is just so everybody knows what my specs are for this. So quickly looking at the Gigabyte GTX 680. You see, this card was released in April 5th of 2012, so it's definitely dated technology. 2 gigs RAM, boost clock and core clock and memory clock are all fairly low for this. But the good thing about this card lasted me like 4 years. I can't complain about it at all. It's just now that we're starting to play more and more of the higher end games, it's starting to always be 100% memory and GPU all the time. So especially when I'm streaming or making any kind of videos, it just bogs down everything. I couldn't play any FPS games at all when streaming at the same time because it just couldn't handle it. My gameplay would start to suffer, and I basically couldn't play any FPS or any fast-paced games while streaming. So time to make the upgrade. I think right now is going to be a good time for everybody, especially with like Black Friday and Cyber Monday coming up. There's going to be stuff going on sale too with Christmas coming up. So it would be, I think, a good time to start looking at getting a 1070, a 1080, or even a 1060 if money's tight. But I think personally, I opted for a 1070 because when you look at your bang for your buck, the value is definitely there. So looking at the specs already, we looked at that. Jumping into, I ran firestrike for this. So here is what I got off of that. See the 2 graphics tests. The physics test was all right. Combined test. So for that firestrike, I got 6,859. And here's how it looks up compared to everybody else. So as you can see, it's pretty low in this day and age. And then looking at the temps and everything on it, this is in a case. I have 5 fans blowing in. I got wicked airflow in this case. So I'm going to say probably the ambient temps inside were about 30 degrees. I know outside it was at 21 degrees Celsius. So as you can see, card gets pretty hot. This is there's no overclock on this card at the time. So card gets pretty hot for sure. I couldn't really, even when I did have an overclock in this card, I couldn't get it up that high just because it would just be screaming hot. So now jumping over to the Evga 1070 Ftw Hybrid. Basically, I chose this card because I think it's going to last at least 4 or 5 years. That's kind of how I'm not the newest tech when it comes to a lot of my builds. I like to future-proof stuff. I don't wasting money every year, every 2 years on parts because we know things are going to change next year. So I decided to opt for this one just because of the water cooler. I know down the road, if I want to do some more extreme overclocking, that's going to help me a lot. And I've been reading a fair amount about the thermal factor in the Pascal GPU being one of the biggest bottlenecks. As soon as it starts hitting 60 degrees Celsius, it starts downclocking like crazy. So I think going for the water cooler is definitely going to be helping out a lot with that. and it definitely proved right. So looking at the card, don't worry about the price here. That's in Canadian pesos. But going down into the specs, again, this is PCI 3.0. My motherboard's only PCI 2.0, which will definitely be getting changed here once I can get a pretty good deal on a motherboard CPU combo. So core clock, boost clock, already way higher than what the 680 was. Effective clock, you got 4 times more RAM in this, so gonna help out a lot in very graphically intense games. New OpenGL. So a lot less power requirements for this as well. It was 550 watts required for the 680. I believe this one's only around 300. Can't find on there for sure. But jumping into the specs, after I installed this, I put the latest drivers on it, and then ran firestrike. So this is what I got on firestrike. As you can see, the physics score is about the score is the same as the 680 or close to it, but definitely the graphics score changed immensely. So I got 14,176 on this. And looking at the temps, this is one thing I really liked about it. So this is without doing any adjustments or anything in precision. So my temp only got up to 40 degrees Celsius. That's awesome. Very, very happy with that. That means we're going to have a lot more headroom when it comes to overclocking. I'll be doing another video on overclocking this card very shortly. So just wrapping this thing up. So if you're a lot like me and you like to upgrade your computer and components every 3 to 4 years instead of every year, trying to keep up with the latest tech and with the Joneses and just kind of burning money, I think right away here it's going to be the time to buy with Thanksgiving coming up and Cyber Monday coming up and Christmas right around the corner. I think you're going to start having a lot of good sales. The one thing for me is with the Pascal GPU, after doing more and more research on it, finding out that it does get very unstable at higher voltages. I've seen some people saying they can only go up to 1.15 volts before stability starts becoming a big issue, not due to thermal, but just because the card can't handle high voltages. I'm hoping that I won the silicon lottery. I hope everybody else does too. I know they changed their binning around on these cards, so it's kind of, you don't really know for sure. Not necessarily the more expensive one you buy is going to be the better one. It's just going to be, it's up to their standard for that certain brand. So hoping I struck luck there. I know definitely the one thing as well with the going for the hybrid with the water cooler, only getting 40 degrees Celsius, I'm going to have tons of headroom when I start actually overclocking this thing, especially with the slave BIOS. And once we start getting custom BIOSes out that change the voltages, we're going to be able to probably do a decent amount with this card. So I'm hoping it'll last me another 4 years again. So keep your eyes peeled for sales. They'll be coming up here right away. And definitely time to consider start upgrading that PC. So hopefully you like this video. You know what to do. If you like the video, give it a like. If you dislike it, give it a dislike. Comment section below. Fill it up. Ask questions, whatever. I'll do my best to answer it. Definitely, we're a small channel, so click subscribe over there somewhere. As well, check out our Twitch channel. It's Twitch at BPZ Gaming. Twitter, Facebook, everything's down below in the description. So feel free to check us out on different social media, same group as well. And yeah, hopefully you like this video. See you guys later.